It's no secret that right now times are tough financially for a lot of people all over the world, but especially in the esports scene. We've seen, the growing esports winter over the past couple of years, which has hit definitely a ton of teams and players hard. In this video today, we're going to be going over some financials and news regarding the huge esports organization Fnatic. Talk about how much money they've been making, losing, whatever's going on there, and how this could potentially even affect their ability to sign players and how much they could pay players and stuff like that going forward into the future. I am Germ, the host of Sheep Esports here on YouTube, and of course all of our offseason coverage is powered by Holy. Make sure you guys check out that first link in the description below and use code SE5 to get a nice little discount on Holy Energy, iced tea, all different kinds of hydration products, and thank you to them for supporting our content and this channel. With that being said, let's get right into this today. We have this article from sheepesports.com. Fnatic, a widening gap. Analysis of Fnatic Holdings 2023 year-end financials, which might sound a little boring, might sound a little bland, but I promise we will make this interesting because, first off, look at this. On Wednesday, this 11th of September, the holding company of the Fnatic Group published its annual accounts for 2023. You want to see something that looks boring and bland? Look at this website. This is Sanpa Limited, if that's how you pronounce it. I don't even know. They posted their company accounts made up to December 31st of 2023, and we get this 39-page, just black and white, bland document. But don't worry, we have a nice little article here that's going to break it down, make it way more interesting, and way more easy to actually digest this all. So, the British club announced it had achieved a turnover of 21 million euros last year, the same as for 2022. Fnatic's growth seems to be stabilizing, which is obviously not a great thing. You want your growth to be increasing over time, ideally, if you got to pick or choose or whatever. But the club's business model appears to be reaching maturity. But the stabilization also highlights changes in the distribution of revenue sources, reflecting a sectoral evolution affecting all the major players in the ecosystem. So this is going to actually be pretty interesting to see. So we have a couple of different ways that Fnatic is making money. We have esports revenue, which actually grew about 200,000 euros from 2022 to 2023. These are the financial reports for the entire year of 2023. Obviously, we're in 2024 right now, so this stuff is like 9 months old. It's a year outdated, but 2024 isn't done yet. So the newest data we have is going to be from 2023. And their esports revenue did grow a little bit, tiny bit, 200,000 euros. That's awesome. But obviously, in the grand scheme of 21 million euros that we're talking about, it's not that insane, but it is some growth. It's something. Sponsorship revenue. Here is the big thing that has been hitting people all over the place. We know sponsors have been cutting back and pulling back because for years and years and years, sponsors were dumping tons of monies into esports, and they weren't always seeing the returns that made them happy, but they were promised, growth and all these insane things in the future, but esports never really found a way to make a lot of these sponsors happy. So sponsorship revenue, a decrease of 2.1 million euros from 2022 to 2023. That is a steep drop off. That is very concerning, but this is something that I do think a lot of teams and organizations and everything are seeing kind of all over the place. And it's definitely something that esports organizations are going to have to figure out going back in the future. They're going to have to find a way to make these sponsors happy. They're going to have to find a way to bring back these sponsors because that is a big chunk of revenue that all companies, make. Sponsorship is a big thing in sports and athletics and all things, digital content creation, everything. So they're going to have to find a way to regain the trust of sponsors and things like that going forward in the future because that 2.1 million, that is a big gap that they are missing out on. We have gear revenue decreasing 500,000 compared to 2022. That's obviously not great either. Merchandise down 100,000. So where are they making some nice gains? Digital revenue, an increase of 2.7 million euros compared to 2022. That is insane. That is a huge bump. That is things like skins, stickers. We'll talk about more of where they're making that money, but that is very crazy. We do have the consolidated income distribution. Here is a nice little graph being able to show exactly how the breakdown of Fnatic revenue is, and I think this is a really cool way to peel back the curtain. Again, is this the most exciting stuff in the world? Is this some banger breaking news? No, but it is. If you're a big esports fan, if you're somebody who's really interested in this stuff, it's actually kind of cool to see how an organization, to see how some of your favorite teams maybe make money and how these things work. I think this is very interesting. Maybe I'm just a big esports nerd or business nerd in general or whatever, but I think this is pretty cool. we have them making 35.1% of their money, and their biggest chunk of money now off of digital income. Again, stickers, bundles, skins, stuff like that. We have the next biggest chunk of their money just coming from straight up esports income. I'm sure that's stuff like, franchise revenue sharing and tournament prize pools and different stuff like that. We also have sponsors coming in at about 23%, Fnatic gear at 6.4%, and again, merchandising being pretty similar to that Fnatic gear percentage. We can see most of the money coming from digital, esport, and sponsoring, but digital wasn't their biggest in the past. Digital has now kind of exploded and maybe has the brightest future ahead of it. But this also shows why the initiative is on teams and the publishers in the games to really come together and find a way to increase this revenue from this digital stuff and come out with new, better, more exciting products, because this might be the future of sustainability for a lot of these teams. And that's what people have been talking about for the longest time with something like League of Legends, how League of Legends has been greatly dropping the ball in terms of giving teams actually ways to profit off of, in-game items and stuff from their fans, because obviously League of Legends esports fans play League of Legends and would love to support their teams with some in-game items, but they haven't always had the best ways, other than like world icons and stuff like that. But who's pouring a ton of money into world icons? And is there even that much money in world icons? Not really. So, historically, the main source of income for many clubs, Fnatic sponsorship, have fallen sharply. The loss of over 2 million euros is more than compensated by the explosion in digital revenue. 121% increase in this type of revenue, mainly linked to the sale of stickers on Counter-Strike and the lock-in knife and champions bundle on Valorant. Again, Fnatic was part of the Paris Major in CSGO, which was absolutely insane. It was like it was the best-selling stickers of all time in CSGO. They made a ton of money. Now, I will tell you that the Copenhagen stickers that come out in 2024, they did sell much less than Paris. So even teams that made it to Copenhagen, they're not getting as much money as they did in 2023, but hopefully it will still be a lot of money. But it is going to be significantly less as far as the Counter-Strike skins, Counter-Strike stickers revenue. But also, lock-in and knife champions bundle from Valorant, that's a big thing. But like I said, I do hope and really, really wish, and I'm sure a lot of teams do as well, that League of Legends will do a lot more things going forward to allow them to hopefully be able to make money off teams that make it to like MSI and Worlds and stuff like that, because we do see how much money there is in this stuff and also how desperately some of these teams need that money. Fnatic earned a total of 5.91 million euros in 2023 single-handedly from the source. The Black and Orange are among the structures that benefit from this change in the ecosystem. As a historic club, Fnatic is present in numerous games and enjoys a dedicated fan base. But again, this net loss here, this is the big thing, a net loss overall of 6.37 million euros. This is crazy. You can really see now how much money teams are spending, how much money teams are losing, and how we got to figure out how to make this thing more sustainable, because how many years can you lose 6 million euros? That is obviously very, very tough, and I'm sure tough for some investors to stomach, and there has to be some profit at the end of the rainbow at some point, you would assume. So in order to improve profitability, Fnatic has reduced personnel cuts by 2 million. Obviously, that's going to be stuff like player salaries, but that's also going to be stuff like team staff, the pay of the staff, but also the number of staff members and stuff like that. And you can see, obviously, we've seen historically some very, very crazy esports salaries and stuff like that. I'm sure those numbers are going to continue to drop and go down, and they're going to have to, because like I said, we have to reach profitability or at least break even at some point, or this thing just doesn't make sense for us to be pouring $6 million into this every single year. But it is actually interesting to see that, yes, a top-level esports team could potentially be losing this much money. Despite these efforts, the company's total expenses amounted to 26 million. That's how much it cost to run Fnatic in a single year, 26 million euros in 2023. As a result, Fnatic ended the year in the red with that loss. Very, very crazy to see just how much money they are losing. Fnatic is counting on the strength of its brand to refinance its operations. This includes a $2.85 million fundraising round led by Hivemind Future Play and the sale of certain Fnatic gear assets for $2.25 million. In the short term, the company's due to collect around $3 million from its various creditors, but it also has to repay short-term debt of $8.82 million. Very, very crazy. So I did just want to kind of peel back the curtain, show you guys some of this data. I thought it was very interesting. Also, of course, this, like I said, could potentially affect Fnatic's ability to spend money in the offseason and sign players and free agents. Now, the good news for Fnatic here, if we take a look at the contract database, is that Fnatic only has one player that is about to reach free agency. Askarinen is going to be a free agent, obviously Fnatic's current top laner, so they will potentially only have to re-sign one player or find one new player in this offseason. Obviously, they're going to be looking for a new top laner, and that doesn't mean other players couldn't want to leave, or maybe Fnatic will want to sign other players or whatever, but it doesn't seem like they're going to have to do this massive overhaul this offseason or anything like that, especially obviously with Fnatic having a pretty decent year this year in the League of Legends scene. But eventually, at some point in the future, a lot of their players are going to be free agents. They might have to switch up the rosters, whatever. They're going to have to maybe pay players not as much. I don't really know. It's going to be crazy and interesting to see. Hopefully, this won't impact Fnatic too much this offseason. But like I said, it is pretty crazy and pretty interesting, at least in my opinion, to peel back the curtain and see what's going on the financial side of things. And like I said, this is just 2023. Hopefully, Fnatic has made even more strides into 2024, working on losing even less money. But either way, it just kind of shows you the state of the financials in the esports world, and just how rough things can be for some of these teams. There are, some teams that report every once in a while making a nice little profit or breaking even or whatever. But for Fnatic, things are looking a little bit tough right now. Definitely some bad news, but hopefully they're on the right track and getting this under control. Like I said before, definitely make sure you guys check out Holy. First link in the description below, code SE5 to get a nice little discount over there. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.